I'm Gregor Thompson, I'm a philosopher and a writer, and I know what the meaning of life is. Welcome to The Struggle. This episode is brought to you by the Struggle for Meaning newsletter. This is a weekly email newsletter that I send out for free every Sunday, a short article concerning the art of embracing struggle. I also send out tips, strategies, recommendations such as movies, music, podcasts and recipes to help along the way. To sign up completely for free, go to gregorthompson.com, the link will be in the show notes, confirm your subscription and make sure you check your spam folder for your welcome newsletter and add me to your contacts to continue to receive it in your inbox for free. And that's it. You're on your way to struggling more and being more productive, healthy and motivated. Now, let's get on with the struggle. This is episode 9 of The Struggle with me, Gregor Thompson. And for this episode, I want to speak about failure. Now, I know this topic has been spoken about all over the internet ad nauseum. You know, failure is a part of the journey and all of that. But the reason I'm speaking about it is because so many people are still terrified of failure. So much so that we either don't try to achieve something that's meaningful to us, or we settle somewhere where failure is a hell of a lot less likely to occur. But guess what? Settling is failing by default. Inaction is failing. You're making a decision every time you don't try to achieve something that's meaningful to you. And that sort of failing doesn't reap any meaningful rewards. But why wouldn't you be terrified of failure? It's so easy to beat yourself up when you fail. You didn't get the job, you didn't get the promotion, you failed to run the 5K, your latest podcast episode didn't get as many views as you would like. Not that that's personal to me. These can be very disheartening events, but they needn't be. Because productive failure is simply evidence of trying, evidence that you're pushing yourself sufficiently. If you're able to learn a song on an instrument and perform it note perfect in 5 minutes, you aren't pushing yourself hard enough. There needs to be some wrong notes and a few swear words to know you're pushing yourself, to know you're progressing. As much as it is a cliche, failure is part of the journey, but not just any journey, a meaningful one, a journey where productive struggle has been embraced and suffering has been accepted. Many journeys are flat, easy, with no obstacles to contend with. These are the journeys of settling. These are journeys of continued failure with no growth and no meaningful rewards. What we want is productive failures that harbor growth, obstacles that we fail to overcome once or twice or 3 times or 100 times, but then when we overcome them, we are better for it. These journeys aren't necessarily exercising or starting a business or making more money or getting loads of views on YouTube or lots of followers on social media. You know, the things we view as signs of success in society. They're also personal journeys. If you set out to spend less time focusing on career pursuits and more time with loved ones, you're going to fail sometimes if you've been working too much for too long, if you've built strong habits over many years to the detriment of your personal life. It's going to be difficult to reduce the time you spend on work, but the progress comes as you become more aware of your time and as you actually spend more time with loved ones. After every failure, every day you spend too much time working and not enough time with loved ones, you become more aware of how often you work. You'll then spend less time obsessively working, and therefore you're better for those failures. There is no success without failure. So if you're not failing, you will never succeed. Most people are so terrified of failing that they never even try. However, every successful person failed, struggled through setbacks, or felt lost and hopeless right before they made it or succeeded. Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he meant by this is that we can have all the expectations for how our lives will pan out, but we cannot control what actually happens. Therefore, we must accept failures and obstacles and push through them. Obstacles must be accepted and overcome if we are ever to make it to the top of the mountain, whatever that mountain is for you. You just have to find a mountain that's sufficiently difficult for you and that's worth climbing. Think about climbing a mountain. It starts off easy, with a gradual incline. We become confident. However, here is where we must be aware of what's to come and prepared with the knowledge that it will not always be this easy. It will suddenly become steeper and steeper and steeper until we are struggling to climb. At this point, failures and setbacks are inevitable. You'll trip, run out of breath, or become tired, but these are just indications of improvement. Your efforts aren't futile, and failure is part of the climb, because right as you struggle, right when the struggle is almost unbearable, you'll find yourself at the top of the mountain, gazing over your accomplishment. Take learning to play guitar. You'll start by learning a simple riff like Smoke on the Water, and you'll fail a few times at this until you've grasped it. Then you'll learn a few more songs. They become fairly easy, and you're becoming more confident. But then you have to learn keys and scales and improvisation. These are much harder to grasp, but are necessary for improvement. This is the steep part of the mountain. You might feel hopeless, or that you want to give up, or that you'll never improve. But this is precisely the point where maximum effort must be initiated. You'll struggle to play in time with the music, or to hit the right notes, or to memorize the keys. Then suddenly, you've written a masterpiece and can gaze back at your journey of broken strings, wrong notes, and frustration, knowing you failed, you overcame, and you succeeded. So what's the advice? What's the takeaways from all of this? 1, don't choose a task or pursuit that is meaningful because anyone else told you it is. Find what's meaningful to you personally. What are you lacking in life? What would bring the most meaning to your life? What are you willing to fail at? You might work too much. You might not work enough. You might not exercise enough. You might not eat healthily enough. Or you might have a dream career that you're avoiding for fear of failure. Whatever you can do that's meaningful to you, that's difficult, that would make you a better person and that would bring meaning to your life is what you ought to do. 2, be aware of the initial growth stage. It will not always be easy, and to be prepared for what's to come is to be realistic but optimistic. 3, there will be extremely difficult struggles following the initial growth stage, but this is where maximum effort must be employed to reach the top. 4, failures and setbacks during this struggle stage must be welcomed. Remember that most people stop when they fail or stop when it gets hard, and you're not most people. So learn from each failure, ensure you are better for it, and keep climbing. And 5, the hardest part comes right before success. So do not be disheartened by the struggle. One day you'll be gazing back at this point with pride. The answer lies in the struggle. So keep on struggling. Just a few more things before you take off. First, thank you for watching. It genuinely means a lot to see people viewing the content. And second, if you are enjoying the content, please subscribe. That's the best way you can support the podcast. Now, I'll see you next week.